Elisabeth Reynolds. She's Executive Director of MIT's Industrial Performance Center, which is an interdisciplinary research center dedicated to the study of innovation, productivity, and competitiveness. They have been talking about the advanced manufacturing ecosystem that we're all in. In addition, I got to know Liz because she's also a colleague of mine on the Governor's Advanced Manufacturing Collaborative, which has been running many of the things here, and has a few degrees from Harvard, Trinity College in Cambridge, and the University of Montreal.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's an exciting topic, an exciting week, obviously, Advanced Manufacturing Week. And it's wonderful to actually hear from companies from the ground up talking about manufacturing in the state. I'm going to step back for a minute and talk about some research we've been doing at MIT on a project called Production in the Innovation Economy. And this project was started a few years ago with, I think, general concern in the country. Not about our ability to innovate. We continue to be highly innovative, highly entrepreneurial as a country, but the challenge of production and innovation in that relationship. As we saw the decline in jobs, a decline in capabilities with those jobs, and a movement of a lot of our production offshore, what are the implications of that for our innovation and for our innovation capabilities? So that's the aspect that we've been looking at MIT about this topic, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then about a couple specific research modules that talk specifically about this question of scaling. So, let me begin by saying, where are we today? We sort of stepped back and said, what does manufacturing look like today, and how did we get here? And in 1989, MIT conducted a research project about advanced manufacturing, or manufacturing in the US, as we were all facing the challenge from Japan. A book called Made in America, which was a bestseller, which is a little bit of an oxymoron, MIT bestseller. That doesn't happen very often. But the project looked at the challenges of manufacturing in the States, and the big issue there was productivity. And what we understand about the firms in the 1980s was we had a lot of vertically integrated firms, large firms, which took on the responsibility of training their workforce, of investing in R&D, and then of scaling their products, all within the boundaries of the firm. That was sort of how we did this, how we brought products to market 20 years ago. Now we know, today, we really have companies that focus on core competency, from financialization and a whole bunch of pressures, global pressures, and the increase of competent and skilled workers abroad. We now have companies that focus on core competency and look to outsource a lot of these things they used to do internally. So they outsource. You might have a lead firm that then works with turnkey suppliers and provides the manufacturing. You have less R&D investment from some of the larger firms, and looking at universities now to play that role. We have a lot of the innovation coming from our small and medium-sized companies, a lot of the entrepreneurial firms. And that's fantastic. I mean, I think that's sort of opened up a lot of innovation for the country. But it also provides challenges, because the smaller firms obviously don't have the capabilities to necessarily invest in the trained workforce or the significant R&D or capital expenditures you need to bring a product to market. So we're in, I think, a new place in terms of the American manufacturing ecosystem, the industrial commons that some people refer to, where the larger firms don't play as big a role as they used to, and the smaller firms now play a larger role, but there's perhaps gaps in the system overall. So let me talk about some of the findings. We'll be announcing this work in September 20th at MIT. We look forward to having some of you at this event. But a couple basic findings from this work. First, manufacturing matters for innovation. Now, we all may say, of course, we understand that, but I'm not sure 10 years ago if everybody was really focused on that relationship. But this is a critical piece. I think the Department of Defense has known this and is really concerned about our capabilities nationally. But I think broadly, people have not focused on the real importance of this. And if you lose the manufacturing abroad, what does that mean for our innovation capabilities? Secondly, innovation, certainly in manufacturing, is not just about patents. When we went out and talked to companies in Massachusetts, Ohio, Arizona, all over the country, you find a tremendous amount of innovation, but manufacturers aren't necessarily patenting this work. This is coming in the form of trade secrets. It's coming in a sort of learning by doing. And so there's a tremendous amount of innovation that's happening at the product level, at the process level, and within business innovations. I think we heard from David, I mean, the way in which you're innovating across products and product lines. It's very encouraging. Also, this relationship with services, I think everybody who's in manufacturing would understand there's now a tremendous amount of link between the manufacturing and the services, particularly with complex products, and that's where a lot of the companies are making a lot of their margin. Location matters. For manufacturing, I think more so than maybe any other types of clusters, because in the manufacturing process, you're often working with a very iterative back and forth over prototypes, over pilots, and particularly in biomanufacturing. One of the reasons Massachusetts is so strong in this is because we're so strong in the R&D. And if you're building the research, you need to figure out how to scale the product, and that's what we've done in biomanufacturing in this state. Not invented here is a problem. We see a tremendous skill and opportunities, or skills and success in Germany and China with their manufacturing. The Germans have focused on a way, they're not a startup nation. They're a nation in which they build on their capabilities, the small and medium-sized companies, and provide a tremendous amount of support to help those companies train their workforce, invest in R&D, move from traditional fields into new emerging industries like solar, wind, etc. And so they have they have actually a higher percentage of employment in manufacturing than we do in our country. And China is not, I think, any longer just the low-cost provider. It is a really skilled nation particularly at scale-up. They have a very knowledge-intensive way of bringing products to scale. They can reverse engineer products and figure out how to make them more quickly and more cost efficiently. And so they are a go-to place when companies are trying to figure out how to scale product. Another point that others have made is this relationship between skills and industry and skills, and how we have to connect those. I think the state is very good at that and has been improving on how to improve our skill base and try and fill the openings that Barry talked about are coming down the pike. And then finally, I'll mention at the end of this some of the new transformative manufacturing technologies that are coming around, which really provide tremendous opportunity for the U.S. in terms of competitiveness. We're already employing some of these here in this room, I think, some of these technologies. So this is sort of the advanced manufacturing model that's much more complicated, much more sophisticated in some ways, and where, again, I think we play to this state's strength. Let me show the various ways. These are 7 different types of manufacturing that I think we have represented, all of them represented in this state. But materials and nanotechnology hitting the material design, biopharma, robotics and automation hitting continuous and assembly production, the green and sustainable manufacturing that happens again at the recycling piece, supply chain design, which has become more and more important for our companies, and advanced electronics and additive and precision manufacturing. All of these are brand new types of technology which are changing the face of manufacturing and where we see opportunities, I think, particularly that play to the strengths of the Commonwealth and to the country. So overall, I'll wrap up now and just say that while we saw in our research some holes in the ecosystem, places where we need to sort of invest and help support our advanced manufacturing companies, we also see a lot of opportunity, and I think particularly now with a lot of the technology that's on the forefront, an opportunity for us to be competing not only at the early stage of piloting these technologies, but actually scaling them. Thank you.